My name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to a books I'm obsessed with video. So I don't know the last time I did this. I feel like it's kind of redundant because I do weekly vlogs, but then I realized not everyone watches the weekly vlogs, which is like totally fine. But I wanted to go through just some of my recent 5-star reads. So I only had one in November, which is on this list, which if you've watched my wrap up, you already know which one that is. Then I have some rereads more recently that I want to talk about. I have fantasy romance, and then I have a holiday romance. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first one is a holiday romance that I want to talk about, Make This Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake. This one was so... I just don't know what it was about this book, but I devoured it. Like, I listened to it within a 24-hour period. I had some like work to do, and so I popped in an audiobook, and I was just like enamored with these characters. I was enamored with the romance, with the kind of like forced together, forced proximity aspect. I love the character development. Sometimes with holiday romances, the character development can take a back seat, which is like totally fine if that's not what you're looking for, but I just like it when I can connect with the characters and stuff. And for me, I connected with both of our female characters. I just really liked how you could see how they were, you know, when they were younger, when they were in their early 20s, you could see kind of like the mistakes they made by not talking to each other. And now it's been 5 years, so they're more in their late 20s now. And I just feel like as time goes on, you learn to deal with conflict differently at different ages. So like for me, early 20s, I was horrible with conflict. Like I would avoid conflict at all costs because I hated so much. But then I kind of learned how to approach a situation kind of later in my 20s, being exposed to more people, making new friends, yada yada yada, like having different interpersonal relationships as well. So yeah, it's just something I could like connect to, where I was like, wow, I understood what happened and what went wrong. This is a second chance romance, holiday romance. It's a sapphic romance too. I loved both of the characters. I thought this book was written really, really well, and I love the cover. It was so cute. The audiobook narrator did a fantastic job as well. So if you're looking for a holiday romance to pick up that's a little on the shorter side, but you like will get wrapped into the romance and the read, check out this book. Now, another one I have is kind of holiday-y, kind of. I say that sparingly because I recently read Last Christmas in Paris by Heather Webb and Hazel Gaynor. So this is a duo, a writing duo. I have read their books previously, one of their books previously, and I've enjoyed it. But I don't know what it was about this book either, but I popped in the audiobook and I was just wrapped into the world, like everything, the angst, the tension, just all of it. Now, this is a historical fiction book. It takes place from 1914 to 1918, and you get glimpses to, I think it's like 1968 for one of our characters. This is all epistolary. The whole time, all you're doing is listening to, well, if you're listening to the audiobook, I listened to the letters that were written back and forth between our female character, her brother's best friend, and then her best friend. So it's like 4 people. And you really see their life throughout those 4 years through those letters. Now, her brother and her brother's best friend goes off to World War I. They're called in to, you know, go out and fight for, at this point it was England, because they live outside of London, I think. And it was just so interesting to see their story, her story, his story, her brother's story, her best friend's story from a epistolary style book. And I loved it. I was a little nervous because I knew it was epistolary style, so I was nervous for the audiobook that maybe it wouldn't translate well. It translated perfectly. The narrators, there was like 4 or 5 different narrators, because even when the time switched to 1968 and it tells you like blah, 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 Paris 1968, you see it's a different narrator, or they use a different voice. So I just thought it was perfectly narrated. The story was absolutely amazing. I loved it. This was our Leave It to the Pros book club pick for December, because we wanted something wintry, Christmassy, stuff like that. This book did not disappoint. I loved it. Yeah, it's an amazing historical fiction. So if you're looking for like a Christmassy historical fiction book, definitely check out this book. Another one I want to mention that actually comes out on the 31st of December is Stealing for Keeps by Rebecca Jinchak. So Rebecca Jinchak really writes some sports romances. And this is definitely a sports romance, but it's YA. So usually she writes like new adult age up to adult romances, but this is a high school romance, YA romance. It's her first published book with Bloom, and I listened to the audiobook and I was kicking my feet giggling. Like, I love good like high school romance where it's just cute and adorable and the drama is there and oh, this person said this and she said that and he said that. This is just all the drama because not only is our female character trying to get over an injury that she has. So she's a figure skater, she was injured, and now she's like trying to recuperate. She's trying to figure out what to do because she can't competitively skate again. But also our main male character, he is the new guy in school and he has dared to kiss our female character Claire at a party not knowing who she is. She is his captain's, like his new soccer captain's ex-girlfriend, his teammate's ex-girlfriend. So it's like he joins this new soccer team in high school because he moves to the area, he moves to a new school, has to do a whole new soccer team. They have like a really competitive soccer team and they're really good. So he wants to like go into college and do soccer in college and stuff. So he moves to that school. And yeah, things get messy because he kisses his teammate's, technically his captain's ex-girlfriend, and he still has like feelings for her. And he's like, well, I really like her, so yeah, maybe we'll have a secret relationship. I loved it. It was so good. I want everyone to read it when it comes out. I think you can still request it on NatGalley if you want an e-arc, but I loved it. Now, recently in December, my life has been taken over by rereading the ACOTAR series. So I reread all of these books, all 3 of these books, in like a week and a half, which is kind of quick. I also annotated them, so all my tabs are super pretty. But I haven't reread these in about 2 or 3 years. Now, Goodreads said I hadn't read it since 2020, but when I went to go add my 2022, but when I went to go add my dates for this year, like rereading in December, it said that I read it in 2020 and then 2022. So I must have reread it, but I don't remember. I've never tabbed them. So I started with ACOTAR because I was just like, ooh, I really want a good fantasy romance. I want to be like drawn to these characters. I already knew the characters, I already knew the story. So it was more like a comfort read. I also reread Binding and Keeping 13 in November. So I was just on a reread kick. Sometimes I do that. But I forgot how much I love these characters and I love Sarah J. Maas's writing. So A Corthorn and Roses is the first book. It's a lot shorter. Introduction to the world. Human girl kills a fairy, has to go like live in the fairy world, basically. I'm summarizing it. A life for a life, basically. And then the second book, Mist and Fury, is when things get more and more and more crazy. I have all the tabs. I also like color-coded the tabs and highlights, which was so fun. Sometimes I love a good annotation project because I can take my time with it. I really like doing that. So in this book, we meet a certain character. Well, we don't meet a certain character. Something happens with a certain character. It's absolutely my favorite. I'm trying not to get spoilers, but I love this world. And then I moved on to A Court of Wings and Ruin, which I love the pink. My tabs were like basically perfect for this book. The highlight color, everything I chose was perfect for this book. I did order these new covers. I have the original paperback covers with like her on the cover, but I wanted these to annotate because I didn't want to touch those because those are now out of print and like I guess they're collector stuff. Anyway, I just didn't want to touch them. But I don't know which book is my favorite in the series. Like, I thought this was my favorite because of, like, chapter 55, if you know, you know, like 54 and 55. But then I read this book and I was like, wow, the twists and turns in this book and the setup for certain things. Like, I finished A Court of Wings and Ruin at, like, 1:30 in the morning and my mind was, like, reeling with thoughts and ideas and theories and all of the above because I was like, hello, Sarah, what are you doing? Like, certain names, certain things, certain words I was like picking up and I'm like, this means something. This means something, but I don't know what it means. So yeah, this was just a really fun reread and I love those 2 books so much. Another fantasy romance that I have is Metal Slinger. If you guys are tired of hearing me talk about this book, I am so sorry, but I loved this book. I hadn't read a fantasy romance that has given me such a reaction that this book did in so freaking long, and I loved it. It was fantastic. I will say that this is one of my top books of the year, so spoiler alert, it's going to be in some videos coming soon too, but I love just the setup. Like, I figured out with fantasy romances and fantasies this year specifically is that when I'm thrown into the world and I'm just kind of figuring things out and, you know, you're picking up pieces as you go, kind of like how When the Moon Hatched is too, I particularly love those kind of books more. I love the action right from the start. It makes it gripping. It makes it easy for me to jump into. It just pulls me in. Personally, it pulls me in and I love that. So this book kind of solidified that for me, that I was like, okay, yes, I love being dropped into the action, figuring out things as we go, just like this girl is living her life from that point on. And we're gonna figure things out. And this book did not disappoint. I will say, if you want a good fantasy romance to read before the end of the year, pick this one up. This is, yeah, a good one. A good new fantasy romance I'm obsessed with. And the last one I have is more of a contemporary romance, small town romance, all of the above, and that is Broken Harbor by Catherine Cowles. So I feel like I read this, but I didn't really talk about it all too much. This is a hockey hero with a single mom. She is a single mom. She has a son who's about 6 or 7 years old. He goes to hockey camp, and then she meets our hero, who is Cope. He is the hockey hero, and you see he is one of the brothers of the Coulson crew, obviously. He's a billionaire, all this stuff like that. She owns a bakery, so she bakes a lot. It's super adorable. I love romantic suspense in books now. Like, it's my thing. Like, I've been trying, this year I tried out so many different genres and subgenres and authors in those subgenres and genres, and I found so many new favorites. And so I feel like this year my reading has really branched out. So like, of course I'm still a romance girl at heart, which is why this is still like romantic suspense, and they definitely have a heavy romance. But with this book, I just fell in love with, like, I wanted to figure out who did it, and I never did. There's not been one Catherine Cowles book that I figured it out, and I thought I did. I did not figure it out in time by the end. I was very shocked. I'm always shocked in her books. But yeah, I just love this so much because she's never written like a true hockey hero like this, where he's like, you know, like he's dealing with teammate stuff, and he's dealing with her and being home and family stuff and the Coulson crew and just all of these things. And I'm so excited for the next book. I'm so excited. But this was also a good one. That was one of my favorites. That was like my only new 5-star read from November. I reread Binding and Keeping 13, which was also a 5-star read, but that was reread. But yeah, that was my only 5-star read from November. But all the rest, besides Middle Slinger 2, I've had like banger 5 stars, and I'm very happy about that. So that is all I have for this video. I thank you for watching me just chat about all the books that I'm obsessed with. If you want to leave me emoji, drop me the heart eyes emoji for like obsessed. You know what I mean? Like obsessed. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content for me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.